Our cooperation with Russia will be based more on education and the transfer of knowledge. It will not be a cooperation where we are there asking for help, asking for support in financial or economic matters, and so on. During my school years, there are people who don't like certain subjects and who just can't manage to learn certain things. When they couldn't do it, we used to nickname them after the scientist who invented that thing. He has to work on a table, but he doesn't know why he has to study the table. Which means that if he doesn't practice, he doesn't know the usefulness of Mendeleev's periodic table. Thank you very much, comrade, and good morning to everyone. It is a real pleasure to be here with you this morning, to connect with you and also to discuss certain topics, I would say, of a scientific nature that are of great interest to us. I am here today on the occasion of the 80th anniversary of the victory over Nazism. I believe we took part in the parade yesterday. Even before that, the day before, we also participated in some cultural events. But from all of this, I would say that we have learned many lessons that should lead us to reflect even more, to remotivate ourselves to restart the African engine. Nazism, which people believed had disappeared, is resurfacing. The same goes for imperialism and colonialism, which are present in another form and continue to oppress populations around the world. And today, many peoples are fighting for their survival, for their sovereignty, to live in peace. And the Sahel is one of those regions where imperialism is manifesting itself in a very violent way. And with everything we are experiencing, I hope that we can honor the memory of all those fighters who gave their all and who have gone before us in this struggle against imperialism, against neocolonialism. I therefore ask you to observe a minute of silence. Thank you. Thanks. This morning, we are in a rather special setting, which is a scientific university where many students from the AES are present to gain knowledge and learning. And we made a point of being here to encourage you and also to share a few messages with you in the spirit of the pursuit of knowledge. We are going to work to increase the number of students here. But I also spoke with them. We want these universities, such as this chemistry university and the University of Radio Technology, to be replicated in our country so we can train more students, and for us to cooperate so that they send us instructors on site, allowing us to have major laboratories and great universities. Our cooperation with Russia will be based more on education and the transfer of knowledge. It will not be a cooperation where we are there asking for help, asking for support in financial or economic matters, and so on. That is not why we are here. We are here to cooperate more closely and effectively in the important field of knowledge and learning. And it is important to note that knowledge itself is much more scientific, based on evidence and research than ever before. And you here in this scientific university, I admire you greatly because in principle, you should be learning and practicing science, chemistry, and radio engineering. This is what we need today in order to develop. I will give you a few examples during my speech to help illustrate my point. Here we are at Mendeleev University. Everyone who has studied science has learned about Mendeleev. And I am going to share a little anecdote with you. During my school years, there are people who don't like certain subjects and who just can't manage to learn certain things. When they couldn't do it, we used to nickname them after the scientist who invented that thing. For example, we had people we called Pavlov, and we also had people we called Mendeleev. The one we called Mendeleev, for instance, once asked himself why Mendeleev created that table. It's to create problems for us. You understand? He has to work on a table, but he doesn't know why he has to study the table. Which means that if he doesn't practice, he doesn't know the usefulness of Mendeleev's periodic table. That's why I say that in this sense, cooperation is very important so that we can practice them. With chemical equations that we've been spending time balancing since, I would say, high school, we're very good when on paper we're told to balance a chemical equation, we do it. When, in thermodynamics, we're told to calculate the standard enthalpy of formation of a substance, we do it.
But in practice, in real-world situations, what do we really and truly do?
Has anyone ever, for example, taken a hydrogen parent nucleus and shown me what happens if we remove an electron? Perhaps? Electron, what does that result in? Or when you add an electron, what happens? I never got that practical demonstration. Hydrochloric acid. Since high school, we've been made to do chemical reactions with it on paper. But I've never actually handled hydrochloric acid or done a real experiment with it. This just goes to show you how important hands-on practice is and how much we lack these labs to let us do practical work in our countries. And you shouldn't become the kind of theorist that I am. That's why we want to replicate this kind of university back home, so that our young people studying scientific subjects can get practical experience and not just be theorists. A lot of things around us are about the chemistry of materials. And the world itself even started with that. This table that Mendeleev created, I believe that all of science is based on it. But it's practical work that allows you to move beyond being just a theorist and to create something tangible that can be useful to society. And that contributes greatly to the economy of our countries. Without you even realizing it, let me give you a few examples. You see, we import a lot of iron, for example, from all over the world. That's what we call galvanized iron. And you know very well, you chemists here, that it's nothing more than an electrolysis reaction. So why can't we do that ourselves, right here at home? We have to go and buy galvanized iron from China or Europe or from all over the world. For example, we pay for equipment, we pay for ammunition, so on. And when I talk about ammunition, explosives and all that, Mali produces cotton, Burkina produces it, Niger produces it. But you know very well that it's the cellulose from cotton that's processed to make gunpowder and explosives. Why can't we manage to do it? Because we don't have practical chemistry. Even for vehicle armor, yesterday I saw many vehicles parading on Red Square, from T-34s to modern vehicles. Armor has evolved. What is armor anyway? It's a type of steel, and it's through chemistry that people understood that by adding a certain amount of carbon to iron and so on, you can create a specific kind of steel. That's practical application. We know how to do the chemical equations. We know very well that if you add a certain amount of carbon to iron, it gives you steel and so on. But in practice, are we able to actually create armor? Yet we are at. And it's chemistry that allows us to do it as well. Along the same lines, you can see all the types of missiles that the Russian Federation is able to develop. And the latest one is the Orechnik, which is making the whole world tremble. Who wouldn't want to have it? But even just the fuel for all these missiles is chemistry. Are we actually able to know to practically create it ourselves?